This is a delicious and light, little kind of light lunch or a nice little starter for us. So what I'm going to do is the basis is couscous, really, and that's going to be our gorgeous filling for our eggplant. So I'm just going to have a cup, and couscous is easy. You just do same. So you do 1 cup of couscous, we want 1 cup of water.
There we go.
Hey.
Now, you could use stock if you wanted to, or sometimes I just use it straight from the kettle. There we go. A little bit extra.
That's true, yeah.
Oh,
so when you use stock, what it does is it just takes up that flavour. We're going to add so much flavour today that we don't need it. So you can just put some cling film on there or a plate and just put it to the side and let that soak up. It only takes about 10 minutes, doesn't it?
I put it in a takeaway container and put the lid on the takeaway container.
Nice.
And then put it aside, yeah.
See, it's these little hacks that we pick up by hanging out with people like him. So what we're going to do now is, obviously, the hero is the eggplant or the aubergine to my British friends. And what we're going to do is I just want you to slice just enough, because this is going to almost act like a kind of like a nori, like a seaweed sheet, really. Because we're going to wrap it up and do something quite fancy with it, really. So we have some good extra virgin olive oil just there. I'll put both pans. We've got 2 pans going, of course. If you've got all afternoon and you just want an afternoon of cooking, you can stick your favourite podcast on, just relax, kick back.
And just fry off eggplant all afternoon.
100%,
I like that.
yeah. So, of course, you can also bake this in the oven, but it is actually much easier to just do it this way. So a nice slow heat. We want to slowly bring it up. And what I'm going to do is get some of that delightful Murray River salt flakes. What they'll do is soak up any kind of excess liquid that we have there, and it's also going to flavour that nicely. So what I'll do is I'll just let that sit for a little while so it goes a bit golden, 2 to 3 minutes on each side, goes a little bit softer so it becomes malleable so we can work with it. Just wait for that couscous to come up, and then it's time to start rolling.
Great, yeah.
That. So you want to go for kind of the biggest ones, and you know, don't do them too thin that they fall apart either as well. So I've got Richo just working on the beautiful couscous. We've got some mint, some parsley. But you can change that up, whatever you've got in your garden, if you're lucky enough. And the last one here.
Now, Rosie, if you wanted to, you could put them on a tray and bake them in the oven if you wanted to, couldn't you?
Yeah, you most definitely could. Yeah, that's a really easy way of doing it.
On the barbecue?
On the barbecue. So adding a little bit more texture as well, making it a bit kind of Middle Eastern as well. I'm going to put half these pine nuts in there. OK, so you want to make sure that you toast them. I have some lovely feta to add a nice kind of tart element to it as well. So we just want to cube that one. Now, if you don't like red onion or anything like that, you don't have to have it. You really can as well. Grab anything that you have in the fridge, stick it in there. But it is quite nice, I think, in a salad. Don't you agree?
You could add some chives or some spring onions in there.
Some chives, yeah.
Some shallots, but red onions, who doesn't love red onions? I think they're gorgeous, especially when they're chopped nice and fine like that.
That's it. So we have these nice little cubes. And what I want you to do is just grab some salt and pepper.
I can do that for you.
And I'm just going to add that feta. And we're going to very carefully and gently just roll it all together with a spoon. We're going to add some extra virgin olive oil just in there. Beautiful. You can do the honours if you want. You want to
I
just
can
have
mix that around for you. So you want to fluff up the wholemeal couscous.
So I've got my beautiful eggplant here as well. And what we're going to do is we're just going to have a little bit
Couscous in the
of
middle.
it there.
Like
Couscous just on the side there. And we're just going to very carefully roll it. Now, you want to make sure that your eggplant has cooled down a little bit, OK? So
Otherwise
we've got
you'd be hot loading, wouldn't you?
Richard, so I'm going to keep doing that, and I want you to just work on the dressing. So I'm going to do a tahini-based dressing. So tahini's basically just mulled down sesame seeds, so really, really rich in nutrition. So I'm just going to add some apple cider vinegar, some honey, and some water, and a bit of salt and pepper.
I like that.
And we'll have the easiest of dressings. Now, if it's a bit thick, you can add a whisk to it, but the really easy way of doing it is to just plop it all in a jar, mix it all up. So I have a bit of garlic there as well. If you want to add some of that, just microplane the garlic. I do like to microplane ginger or garlic if you're going to have a dressing, just so you don't get big chunks of it and end up, you know, chatting to someone and they start making a bit of a funky face, which is not what we want, is it? But we do want that superfood in our body.
It's a good way to have some peace and quiet, I find. Just have a bit of garlic and that's it. People will leave you alone.
That's it.
There we go. Give that a tap. Nice and fine all the way through there like that. So I'm just going to pop that in there. Do you want me to just shake it up?
Give it a little shake.
I'll do that.
But if that tahini is a bit thick, just make sure that you've got a whisk on hand.
Now, just make sure that the lid's screwed on
the lid's
tight.
on.
But I like the handle. It's got a little shaky handle like that. Look at that.
That's it.
Oh, my goodness. It's nice and creamy just by shaking it like that. It's emulsified it. So
That's the great thing about tahini. There's no cream in sight, but it does give it that lovely, lovely texture.
You like that?
Yep, love it. A few extra pine nuts.
Beautiful.
And they are ready to tuck in. So if you grab a knife and fork, I really like using the kind of wholemeal couscous as well. It gives it a little bit of a different element. Make sure you get that dressing
I do like
in
the
there.
dressing in there. I made the dressing, so I'm going to make sure I get plenty of that. It looks really good. It's really simple, really sort of Middle Eastern. Lots of great flavours. I'm just smelling it. It smells really
Really good
fantastic.
flavours. That's the thing with kind of Middle Eastern food. It is a flavour bomb. I've got to say that dressing is really, really good. It's nice because the couscous is kind of subtle. Eggplant used in a bit of a different way, and it completely changes everything.
I'd have to say it's a fantastic dish, and I can't wait for you to try my dish that's coming right up.